Time to see what the wizards are up to.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, everyone.
We are back. We've returned.
Thanks for joining us on this short week, holiday week here in the U.S. We're really excited to be here. We have so much to cover.
Yes.
This may go for a while.
Normally you're like, oh, it's going to be quick.
Usually
and then it
we
goes
say
a long
it's
time.
going to be quick and it's really long. This time it's actually going to be really long. We have some awesome Heroes digital stuff. We have some dungeon spoilers. We have a guest who we'll be introducing a little bit later. So very, very exciting. So yes, we'll kick off. I'll just cover a few marketing items and then we'll jump into the good stuff.
Nice.
So last week, congratulations, Jason Patch. You won the scenarios in Promo Pack 1. Promo Pack 1, one of my favorites. Lots of awesome ships in that one. You'll have a lot of fun with that. And for this week, we are giving away a copy of Epic Duels. So Epic Duels, I worked on Epic Duels myself quite a bit, not design in terms of play testing. Epic Duels is an awesome set for new players if you don't know how to play duels, or for people that want to play Epic with new people who don't know how to play Epic. It has a quick start guide, which is super fun and walks through turn by turn, not just what to do each turn on sort of a pre-scripted game, but all in pre-constructed decks, but also what the thinking is behind what you're doing each turn, which really helps you to get into the mindset of, okay, how do I become a really good player at Epic card game, and understanding the turn flow. So yeah, I highly recommend it. Also makes an awesome stocking stuffer. I will just say, and
again, it's only $20, so
which
it's
is a good lead into our Black Friday sale. So we have a sale going on right now in our online store, 25% off all in-stock games. We also often have bundles on our site, which are more than 25% off. But basically everything that's in stock is marked down 25% off. So that's super exciting. Go on over and check that out if you want to get some games. We have a lot of games that make great stocking stuffers, or just make great gifts. Not super expensive, and people get a lot of gameplay out of them.
It won't fit in a stocking, but that new Star Realms box set is pretty sweet, and with really great insert for storing cards and beautiful boards. Really nice.
I have a picture of that, Rob, but you can go ahead.
Oh yeah.
Talk about how awesome it is now. Beat me to it.
So it's got 4 starting decks, everything you need to do 2, 3, or 4 players in the game. You can even do 1 player because it's got the solo and cooperative games. And for the Pirates of the Dark Star and the Nemesis Beast. And it's got storage inside. So which can hold cards sleeved or unsleeved. It's got a board. So it's a really, really nice box set. It's behind me here, so you can sort of see the size of the box. So it's a decent sized box, but not too big. And it can't hold an entire every card sleeve Star Realms collection, but it can hold what it comes with plus a bunch of other expansions. So you can make sort of a cool set that you like to play with. Keep it in there. It can hold sleeved cards or unsleeved cards, and it has all your spots for your starting decks and everything, so you can set up super quick, and a nice playboard. So really fun Star Realm set. Great for people who haven't played before because it's got everything they need, including a board, and for existing Star Realms players, it's a nice sort of upgrade / travel set that they can have. So pretty sweet.
It's really beautiful. So just a quick update on that. It is loading, I believe, loading out this week, and then we'll be heading to distribution and shipping out to customers and retailers as well. So we do expect that to be shipping before the holidays. So
yeah, shipping and ports are it's a mess right now, but we're getting there.
Yeah. So we will be at PAX Unplugged this is in December. It's the week of December 9th. Rob and I will be there, and quite a few other people from the team. We will be having Star Realms and Heroes Legend Series. And just a hint, one of our special guests is a past Legend Series, Star Realms Legend Series winner. And but yeah, if you win a Legend Series, you become a card in the game. So we base a piece of art off of a photograph of you. So definitely recommend if you're going to be in Philadelphia or would like to be in Philadelphia in December. Airplane tickets are very inexpensive right now because I've also been looking at finally visiting my parents who I haven't gone to Florida in many years. So I've been looking at plane tickets. We'll be driving because we're in the Boston area, but hope to see some of you there. We'll be at booth. Our booth number is TT06. So normally we have an area in the tournament area and an expo booth at most big shows. At this show, we're just going to have an area in the tournament area. We'll also be selling games there. We do expect to have some of the box sets there as well. So come by and check those out and say hi to us. We'll have a big hanging sign over our booth so that you can find us. And let's see, we covered that. Oh, Rob, do you want to talk about?
All right, so we continue to do updates on Epic Digital. We've added a new pack to Epic Digital. The Rixus versus Tarkin pack has been added, and we're going to continue to add. We've got the paper in Epic is a little bit ahead of the digital, as is often the case, as frequently the case with Star Realms and our other games. And we're going to be continuing to add sets to Epic. So these new cards are in the app now, and we will continue to add sets, and so the Epic Digital universe will be continuing to grow.
Thanks, Rob. So last time, it's been a couple weeks since I've been on here. Thank you for waiting for me because I was sick from my booster shot. But 2 weeks ago, we talked about the Realms Rising blog, and you can see here some of the content that's been posted on it. It's an awesome blog, and it started out as a podcast. So I'm mentioning this because our guest today is from the Realms Rising podcast. He's actually the creator of the Realms Rising podcast. Here's a little logo of it. His name is Adam Charbonneau, and I am going to go ahead and
add Adam.
Him to the stream. Hi, Adam. So everyone can say hi to Adam. So Adam's been playing Star Realms since 2016 in the fairly early days. He is from Rhode Island. He actually won. He actually came to our original our game fairs. We held our own conventions way back in the day. And he was at both of those, and he also has won a Star Realms Legend series. And then when he saw that Hero Realms Digital was becoming a thing, he got very excited about it and decided to start a podcast, which is called Realms Rising. So we asked him to join, and we would like to chat with him. And I'd also like to mention that he did a very quick interview with Rob.
Very, very brief.
Which launched this week. So if you want to know every detail about Rob's backstory, which is very interesting. I'm joking that it was a quick story because it's not. That's because you may not know all the details of Rob's history and his backstory, and Adam covered that really well in the podcast. So I recommend that episode and all of the other episodes. So we're going to cover a bunch of Hero Realms Digital spoilers and
so then, I'm gonna be going over some spoilers for the new Hero Realms Dungeons set, and we can get Adam's thoughts on those. And also, I have done a bunch of balance changes to Hero Realms Digital, which we are going to be putting in an update that'll be coming up soon. We're going to talk about those balance changes here today. Adam's going to be seeing them for the first time, so we'll get his thoughts on that. And of course, everybody who's watching, we can get your thoughts as well. I'm interested to know what you guys think of the balance changes that we're putting in place. If there's other balance changes that you'd be looking for. We really want with Hero Realms Digital to have it be sort of a living game where we're looking at the feedback from the community and making sure that the game is dynamic and has balance throughout. And that's something that is great that we can do with digital, which we can't do it. It's harder to do with paper. Like basically, once you print it, it's on there for good. But with digital stuff, we can tweak numbers around as we get in. So welcome, Adam.
Yeah, welcome. If anyone has questions for Adam about his history, the podcast, the blog, things you'd like to see, put them in the comments. After we go through the new Hero Realms stuff, we'll take questions from the comments. If you have questions about anything else, from Rob or myself, ask them, and we'll cover those at the very end. So, and thanks everyone for joining. So I will jump into these new cards. So.
All right. So I'm gonna be showing off a few cards from the new Hero Realms dungeon set, and I just a little spoiler here. This is what the box is
Nice.
gonna look like. So we had a nice little box prototype made up, and we've gotten like physical prototypes of cards, do testing, etc. And we're going to show some cards here today. So this is Wild Charge. This is a very hard-hitting wild card. This one has sort of a little tweak on ally abilities. So this gives you 7 combat plus 3 for each other wild card you have in play. Now, this isn't like an ally ability where you can trigger it anytime you want and it looks at the number there. This one, when you play it, take a snapshot of the board and it gets the bonus when you play it for the wild cards you have up at that time. So play order is going to matter a lot with Wild Charge, and it can get to a very, very hard hitting level. So let's go ahead and jump to the next card. What do you wanna? Or should we? Well, actually, sure. Let's get Adam in, and we'll talk about
Sure.
time. Sure.
Yeah, no, looking at Wild Charge, this is pretty exciting. I think what we're seeing, especially with the other teasers you've done, is that the overall damage curve on the cards is going up, right? So for 5 gold, that 7 damage plus the additional 3s. I mean, it makes an even bigger case to build only into green, into wild on these, and it to boot has the discard along with it. I can see this definitely being a must-buy card no matter where you are in terms of the deck you've built in a game. I'm excited to try it out.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, and speaking of power level, these cards, obviously, we're showing you guys stuff sort of earlier in the process than you normally see it. So we are in the process of balancing and testing, etc. And Pittrap's a good example of that. So Pittrap, this is a really cool card. We're having some really fun play interactions with it. However, it may be that its power level is a little bit too high. This is something we're going to discover as we continue to play test and and balance with it. So Pittrap, this is a hard-hitting guild card. Hits for 6 damage. And it has the new mechanic of when you acquire it, it goes to the bottom of your deck. So this is that mechanic alone is very interesting because you can manipulate your final draw of your deck, try and get ally abilities together. Also late in the game when oh gosh, I really need some combat coming up. This card can really play into that. This one also gives you gold for each champion that you stun that turn. So this is the area where we're most concerned with the power level and are sort of keeping notes on it. But it's kind of creating some really fun game effects. So we're sort of pushing the envelope a little bit at this early design and development stage. Pittrap, 6 combat plus 2 gold for each champion you stun. Obviously, that can be very punishing to certain deck types. So, like if you've got a deck with a lot of small champions in it, you can be giving your opponent very significant amounts of gold in there. So yes, there will be a set icon on these cards to identify which set they are. Again, these are sort of early in the process, so we'll be adding. There is a set logo which will be added, and it'll be color coded, so you'll be able to tell the quantities of the various cards as well. All right, Adam, Pittrap.
Yeah, I mean, looking at Pittrap, this is I can see what you mean about still being in the balance phases, because I can imagine a few scenarios where this really pops off and you get like an early bomb, because you can, for 3 gold, you can put that right into your first set of purchases in turn 1 or 2, right? And say you're playing against a cleric or some other deck that has some low level champions. with that 6 damage right there, I mean, you're talking about maybe an easy 2-4 gold right in that first deck cycle, because it goes on the bottom of your deck, right? There's definitely ways to abuse this one, but I'd love to be the first.
Yeah. So one of the things the most likely nerf to this card would be a reduction to 1 gold per. Where a lot of times when we're at this stage where we've got the set designed, but we haven't gone deep into the development yet, we'll push the envelope. We'll have cards at sort of high power levels, and to sort of see what's possible, because with that can generate sort of the most sort of fun, interesting effects in the game. But pretty quickly you'll discover, okay, is this okay? This you occasionally can get this big thing, but it's not consistent, or is it too much? So that's going to be so we'll see the development of this card as it continues. All right, so here is a big champion in Wild. This guy is a card advantage machine. You can activate it to draw a card and have target opponent discard a card. You're up 1, they're down 1, and it's got ally card draw. So if you can get your wild ally going, you're going to be drawing 2 cards with this card, and 6 defense. Champion's pretty solid. And interestingly, this guy's not a guard. Often the big, really powerful champions are guards, which is a blessing and a curse. Guards are great in that they keep you alive, and often late in the game that's very important, because you're at the stage where your health's kind of low, and if they can avoid the champion and just smash the player, that can sometimes end the game. However, a non-guard can be defended by your guards. So basically, this guy's got a powerful ability, and you could have some cheap guards that you're throwing out in front of him, keep them alive for multiple turns to get those powerful effects going.
Yeah, I love looking at this card. I'm thinking there's almost a play to be had between Imperial and Green for maybe the first time, because we know that Imperial as a set overall really focuses on a high level of draw, and this plays right into it, where you could be forcing them to discard and maybe gaining some life along with it. I see this kind of changing the dynamic between the factions more than anything, because if you're encouraged to get the economy to buy into it, being 8 gold, you could be really rewarded, because man, it could replace itself once, twice, infinitely. If this is on the board and you've got it, your opponent's got a problem.
Yes,
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah, definitely. This is definitely a must remove card from the table. Okay, so Demonic Rage. This is a staple Necros deck thinning. Allows you to sacrifice a card from your hand to discard pile. Gives you gold when you play it. So in some ways, this card, when you first purchase it, your deck's going to get a little bit worse, right? Because it's basically like adding another gold to your cycle. However, you can thin out your deck. You've got the ally ability for a couple combat, and very importantly, it can be sacrificed for combat, which can both give you combat immediately, and when your deck's starting to get thin and it's starting to hum, you can get this card out of there once it's done its work.
Yeah, no, this is awesome. I'm actually probably most excited about this card so far, because this really amps up the power of sacrifice. Like you said, in order for sacrifice to be useful, you have to get through at least a full cycle and sacrifice something with it to make the replacement. So here, you pay gold, you get it back. So you haven't really lost anything, and then you can sacrifice a few times and then get rid of it whenever you want. And I think that's the big thing, is that with sacrifice, eventually you're like, okay, I'm done. I built into a better combination somewhere else, so now I can get rid of it. But I mean, looking at some of the other red cards you've teased so far, who knows? Maybe you'll be keeping it so you can get that ally effect on. On
Yeah, indeed. All right, let's see. Next, this guy is great for evasive damage. So basically, doesn't give you combat. He deals 6 damage directly to the opponent. This is regardless of whether they have champions in play. guards, whatnot. This just cuts straight through 6 damage to your opponent. So if your opponent's got sort of defending themselves through a wall, this can get that finishing damage through. Also, this ally ability, in some ways it's minor, just bringing the cost down of cards by 1. However, it's bringing it's not a one-shot thing. It's whenever you acquire a card this turn, you pay 1 less. So you can get fire gems for 1. You can get 1 cost cards for free. And there are some cards that pay attention to the number of purchases you make during the turn. So this card can be really powerful with us.
Yeah, this one is really interesting to me because I'm having a hard time envisioning where and how I'd play it effectively because there is so much low cost, high damage already built into some of the other cards we've seen. For 6 gold, I'm wondering when I put this out to activate the damage. But if you can get that thing snuck behind another guard, keeping it there, that 6 damage is going to add up because it goes straight to the opponent, so it doesn't even matter if they have a wall. I like the concept. I'd be curious to play with it.
All right, and our last new card we're showing off today, is the Marigold Minstrel. This is just a solid mid-range Imperial champion. Gives you 4 combat, and this ally ability is really interesting. So Imperials are good at preparing champions. Is one of their primary sticks, and we've got some really interesting champions. Activated abilities, for example, that one we just saw with a 6 damage, or man, if you can get this going with the Demon Slayer elf with the card draw and discard, that can be pretty spicy.
Yeah, I like this here. Comparing to Hero Realm's base set, right? I think that this definitely ups the damage curve overall for Imperial, which is really nice. And at the very least, for 5 gold, you're getting that 4 damage and potentially taking 5 damage away from your opponent. So a nice 9 change card in Imperial. If I've got 5 gold hanging, why not?
So do you think he looks merry or not? Merry Glow.
Wow, that's a good question.
It's
faking it. Yeah. All right. So we had a couple questions come in. So I just want to get your takes on these questions. One was, are you showing us the strongest cards? Because there's some concern here from Amadeus that you're going to make the old set obsolete.
So one of the things we do in the development process, which we're in now. So design's done, art's done. Now we're in development, and in development we do a lot of play testing and then tweaking. Like, okay, so one of the things we do is we mix old and new sets, and we want to make sure that we are tempted to buy both. Like, basically, if it's all whoever has more new cards in their deck wins, or vice versa, then that's a problem. So but like you could compare, for example, the minstrel to the to Christoph the Just from the old set. And frankly, I'm not sure which I'd rather have. Like, Christoph gives you 2 combat, gives you 3 health when you activate him. Ally draw card. Ally drawing is sweet power level. That's insanely good. So the minstrel hits harder, hits for 4, but the net swing is lower because you're not gaining the health, and often you want that health gain to stay alive. And preparing a champion versus drawing a card, well, they're sometimes the preparing a champion is going to be better, but the draw card's more stable. You need another champion out to get that prepare ability. So which is better? I don't know. And that's what we want. Like, we want it to be like, okay, this one's better in some situations, this one's better in others. Which one of these do I want? And as we play, Darwin and I do a lot of this work ourselves, and we are hyper competitive. We don't like losing. We love to get win streaks versus each other and have bragging rights on it. And if one of us has a strategy that's winning and we're smacking the other one down a couple times, that's not gonna fly long term. Like we're gonna fight over that strategy, and if for certain strategies are dominant, becomes pretty obvious. So so basically, so are some of these cards imbalanced? Probably. This is at the stage of our process where we've, as I said, design's completed, development isn't, and the power balancing is part of the development process. But our target is that old cards, new cards, both are interesting. Which way you go, and you can sort of see that process in Star Realms base set, Star Realms Colony War, Star Realms Frontiers. You can make arguments of which cards are better, but when you're playing with all the sets in Star Realms, at least I find myself buying stuff from every single set, and that's sort of where we're trying to go.
How do you think about the words must versus may on the?
So generally speaking, a lot of this stuff will end up being maze. One of the big challenges with musts is it creates instances of inadvertent cheating. Like, we don't want people to accidentally cheat. So if you must put this card on the bottom of the deck when you acquire it, if you don't, you put it in the discard pile, and then later, when it's impossible to back up, someone's like, "Oh, you didn't do that thing." Oh, is the whole game thrown out now? Like, what's going on? So basically, if you have it as a may, so okay, you may do this thing. That's nice, because then if someone does it, great, and if they forget to do it, then they weren't cheating. They just didn't choose to activate that ability. So generally speaking, most of these abilities will end up being maze. We try and avoid musts because of that factor.
Would you consider doing Lich and Dragon sleeve backs?
Oh, from the boss decks?
Big fan.
Yeah, I mean, those boss decks have insanely good art. So yeah, I mean,
I think
it's a theoretical possibility. Like, right now we're concentrating on getting our the sleeves that we need for the various games through the production and shipping processes, etc. But yeah, that's a potential.
So we're going to the power balancing on Heroes Digital now.
All right, Adam, do you have anything else on these comments, or before we jump over to the next bit?
I guess the thing I'd only say regarding, the power level being much higher in this newer set is I think it's going to really change the way in which we think about combining factions together, because we're seeing such a damage uptick in red, and we're seeing some more unique possibilities for blue, right? Like, I think that overall, like, the decision tree I already have from playing the base set is just going to end up totally altering. And it's like you said, the difference between playing base Star Realms and then Star Realms and Colony together, like, it's almost two different games, right?
Sure.
Because of the dynamics, the cards change, and I think we'll see the same thing happen here, and I'm just excited for it.
And that sort of thing we want. I mean, obviously, we want to keep the color pie so that the different sets, different factions have different feels to them. However, mixing up the way players need to think about the pacing of the game and what cards go together and that sort of thing, that just makes things fresh and exciting. So that is something that we go for. All right, so Hero Realms Digital has been out for in our beta for a while now. So we had an alpha, then we did a Kickstarter. They had I think it was 5,000 people join the Kickstarter, and that gave us a ton of players. And we're getting, we get lots and lots of game data, lots of feedback. With one of the great things about Hero Realms Digital is it's allowing us to really focus on a very cool, unique aspect of Hero Realms, which is this ability to level up your character over time, improve them, make, find treasures, gain skills, and change your sort of starting position as your character improves over time. This is something that we built into the physical game with the campaign, with the Ruin of Thandar campaign, and it was something I was hoping that people would do a lot of PvP play with, because it's really interesting and exciting. However, there's a lot of steps to doing it, and we didn't have the best presentation on how that PvP stuff works. So while it was out there, people didn't play it a ton, and so with the app, we can make it easy for people. We can have it be automatic. It's sort of what the app, it's how the play works. And so we're getting to focus on this whole process of building your character over time, leveling up, and creating unique custom characters that are unique to you, how you want to build them. So that is super fun. But there are so many possible combinations, which is an awesome thing as a player and as a game designer. However, it means there's a lot of stuff to balance. And while we did test everything before we printed the physical version, the number of test games we had then versus the number of games we can get on in the digital app are night and day. So based on all the feedback we're getting from the players and the data that we're seeing, we're making some balance changes. The goals of the balance changes are, one, to make all the classes be fair. So basically it's not like, oh, the wizard has a 40% win percentage and the fighter has a 60 and the ranger has a 52 or whatever. We want every class to have a fair shot at the game. It's okay for there to be challenging matchups occasionally, but we want the sort of overall stats on the classes to be good. We also want, when you level up in Hero Realms, you get choices. Okay, do I want to improve my skill or my ability? Do I want to and we have these skill trees where basically you can go in one direction, do one thing, or go in another direction, do another thing. And we want those different choices to be equal and interesting, so that players will design their characters in different ways and have, and you can have different, different effects happening. We don't want it to be, oh, this is the good choice and the other one's dumb. So basically, as we see that sort of the top players are sort of all migrating in one choice direction, or we're getting bigger win percentages in one of the choice directions, we'll make some balance tweaks to try and even things out. So this is what we are attempting to do with Hero Realms, and I gave the digital team a whole bunch of tweaks to make, and they've implemented it in a test build, and that'll be coming in an update for all the beta players soon. About a week-ish would be my guess. So I will jump into it. So there are two changes we're doing to starting characters. The wizard has struggled the most on win percentages, and what we're doing with the wizard is we're replacing one of the gold in their starting deck with a ruby. Now, the wizard has the worst purchasing power of all the characters in the game. This change will bring them up to sort of parity with the other classes as sort of initial purchasing power. So we're changing a gold to a ruby. As I said, that's gonna really boost your ability to purchase stuff early on with the wizard. The class that's had the highest win percentage has been the fighter. We're doing a minor nerf to the fighter. We're taking the throwing axe and we're reducing the combat it gives you from 2 down to 1. This will make it a little bit harder to trigger its draw ability, especially for a low-level fighter, which without increasing like the shoulder bash skill, for example, and also it will reduce your damage per cycle a little bit. Actually, so before I dive into the skill and ability and magic item changes, I just want to jump in with Adam and see his thoughts on these character deck changes.
Yeah. So when we talked on the season 1 special, we talked about your overall philosophy and balancing, and that of being rather gentle in your approach. And I think that this does that gentle approach really well, because you really can't predict how heavy things are going to change. Even with these moderate changes. So I'm a wizard specialist. That's my favorite hero right now. So seeing that gold go up is huge, because another extra buy or that other action that's going to help me cycle my deck a little bit more and be able to crank out a little bit more damage or some of the combos. This was my proposed change. I've been talking to friends within the community. This is my proposed change initially, so I'm excited to see it. And with the fighter, I think that bringing that damage down by 1 will do something because it's going to reduce that overall the ability for the fighter to turn his deck over. And there's like a couple specific combinations, say like if you have spiked pauldrons along with the shoulder crush, you can't automatically, trigger that throwing axe, right? But if I'm going to make a prediction here, I'm going to say the fighter will probably need at least 1 more change at some point, but you just don't know how the meta shakes when these, when these tiny changes are made. So I appreciate the design philosophy of going nice and gentle.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that the wizard change scares me a little. So basically, adding a gold to the initial cycle, that's going to be a big power boost. So we're going to have to look at how the wizard performs and what the win stats are with the wizard. With this tweak. There's definitely some room for improvement in the wizard because its stats were, as I said, the weakest. But we'll keep a careful eye on it. And if it goes too far in one direction, we can obviously nerf as needed. So basically, here we have a question: will the changes made here be available as replacements in the physical in the future? So basically, we're gonna do once changes are stable. Like, okay, we make some tweaks and we test a lot, and we're like, yes, this is the way to go. We will do a couple things. We'll do what trading card games like Magic the Gathering, etc. do. We'll have an errata page. So basically, we'll have a page which has all the changes that we've made to cards. So basically, what's printed on them and how what the new official wording is. And so if you're playing in an official tournament, you'll have to use the errata version. And so in this case, where you're switching a gold for ruby, well, the Pure Realms base set comes with 4 starting decks. Each one has rubies. You can just literally grab a ruby and swap it out. But for things like the throwing axe will have the errata. Now, if you're not playing in a tournament and you want to play your cards as printed, obviously go ahead. It's your game. Do what you want. And then when we do future printings of the paper, we will print the new versions. So we'll have a combination of errata and new printings. So if you could always get the new paper version if you want the up to date, or you can just use the errata page to sort of tell you what the current builds are now. And we'll hold off on doing those erratas until we've gotten solid numbers from the digital and we're like, yes, this change is stable. It's good. Because basically as this change with the ruby, as was just suggested, we may switch that to a second spell components if the ruby is too powerful. So so we'll play around with it. All right, going into skill and ability tree stuff. So with the cleric, I have a lot of fun playing the cleric, and I love the Bless of Iron, Bless of Steel route where you make your champions much harder to defeat. This route was becoming very dominant as a play route, so I did some nerfing to the Bless of Steel, Bless of Iron route, and some buffing on the other side. So you'll notice here. We'll have to tweak the size of this text a little bit, but the Bless of Iron used to give 4 health in addition to bumping the defense of your champions by 2. It will now just give 3 health, so you're not increasing the health you're gaining on the Bless of Iron route. And then we'll go with the Bless of. Oh, sorry.
We had a couple questions.
All right, I'll pause for questions.
Right now. So, do you think we'll have upgrade kits? We actually had 2 questions that were very similar. Once
Yeah. So this is something. Upgrade kits are certainly something we could make. It's not something that I had planned on, but it's certainly a possibility. Let's say we end up changing 30 cards or something over time, we could potentially, have a little upgrade kit that we just print those new versions. So that's a good idea. I like it. All right. So Bless of Steel, same thing. Used to give so the health jumped to 5 on the original version. The update now it's only giving plus 3 health. So minor tweak, but on the if you go the Bless of Steel route, your champions will become really strong. But oh, sorry about that. Your champions will become really strong, but your health gain will not increase. However, if you go the other route, we've actually increased the health gain. So basically, on Bless of Heart, used to give 4 health as a base. Now it's going to 5. Bless of Soul used to give 5. Now it goes to 7. So basically, your 2 routes that you can go with the cleric. One is turbo defense, so bring that defense from +1 to +2 to +3 for your champions. The other is turbo health gain. So basically, if you go on the full Bless of Soul, you're going to be gaining 7 +2 per champion, but still only have that +1 on the defense. So basically, we've nerfed one side and we've nerfed the side that was getting all the love, and we buffed the side that wasn't seeing as much. And then on this one has I've got these in the wrong order, but at any rate, the Divine Resurrect route. We've added a card to Divine Resurrect. So basically, and the Resurrect ability below this, which gave 5 health, we've buffed to 10. So basically, on the Resurrection route, the side that brought back multiple champions was getting a lot more use. We wanted to balance it out a bit. So we've made it so that if you go the route with health gain, the first one in that tree is going to give you 10 health instead of 5, and the second one in that tree is still only going to give you 10 health, but it's also adding draw a card to the Resurrect effect, which is obviously quite powerful. So those are the cleric skill tree balance changes. And all right, let's see if I can. And then one other card in the cleric department is the Armor Shining Breastplate. So clerics were taking the helm pretty much all the time. The helm has a 40 health trigger, and if 2 of your champions are stunned, you get to draw a card. And the breastplate's giving you 1 health every turn. Basically, people weren't excited enough about that, so wanted to make the breastplate more interesting. So the breastplate is we've reduced its health requirement all the way down to 10. So this is pretty much not going to shut off if you're a cleric. If you're below 10, you can just bless and bring your health up, and you can probably activate this thing. And the Shining Breastplate will give one of your champions +1 defense until it leaves play. So basically, if you have a 6 defense champion and you activate the Shining Breastplate, it's now a 7 defense champion. If it doesn't die, you can activate the Shining Breastplate the next turn, make it an 8 defense champion. When it is stunned and goes to your discard pile, all those bonuses go away. So it doesn't remember that it got it once it leaves the zone. But you can build up a champion over time with this. And of course, clerics also have the blessing route, so they're good at keeping champions alive in general. So this gives you an opportunity to sort of make a super champion over time. All right, Adam, that was a lot on the cleric, so we're gonna jump over. So cleric changes. What do you think?
Oh my God, my brain is just on overdrive trying to put this together right now. So what I want to say first off is that if you make any change to the fighter, the cleric would need one in turn, and this is not what I was expecting. I mean, the play possibilities go way up, and I love the decisions that are made. But I'm looking at the Shining Breastplate literally with my mouth dropped open, like, oh my God, the possibilities for this, right? And I'm really happy to see the changes on the Resurrect, because until now, right, when this rolls out, I'm definitely going to go the route that you tweaked, because I've been doing the mass Resurrect. But that draw card ability is going to be is going to be really huge when that's fully upgraded. But man, I'm just looking forward to getting a Torgan on the board and just getting that shining breastplate going again and again. I'm excited. There's different ways to build cleric now, aside from just the standard, route that I think most of us have been going at the high level. So this is great, man. I'm excited.
Awesome.
We had a couple questions.
All right. So, and one of the things I was thinking about there, you had mentioned, or when we talked about the fighter, and we said, okay, here's a change to the wizard, here's a change to the fighter. You're like, okay, great. That's nice that you did this change to the fighter, but you're probably going to need more. One of the things that you'll see here with the cleric and also with other skill trees is that we've made health gain sides of the skill trees a little more attractive, and fighters often are on the push my opponent off the table before the game really gets going route. That's going to be really hard if you're going up against a cleric who chose those higher health gain routes. That's going to be, you're going to have to play an honest game with them and be buying cards and trying to out purchase because of that. So basically, while it isn't a direct nerf to the fighter, it does interfere with one of the fighter's heavy strategies if there are people running around with heavy health gain trees. So that hopefully will make the meta a little more balanced, especially at those higher levels, like the level 12, currently the cap at level 12 range. All right. So now we're going to jump over to the wizard. The Serene Channel route has been it's definitely an interesting one where you're gaining health and drawing a card. There was a little bit of question on the power balance of that versus the drawing multiple cards, deeper into the deck. Also, wizards are a little fragile. Giving them a skill tree option with a little more health gain is helpful. What we've done is we've taken the steps along the channel path, and I'm having a little hard time with my scrolling here. And we've made them slightly better. So basically, the Serene Channel is giving you 3 health instead of 2. And I believe it's called Calm Channel, the first one on this the skill tree that's on this route is going to give you 1 health instead of 0. So that whole side of the tree is getting +1 health. So so you can either dig deeper in your deck or gain that health gain, and you're basically gaining 2 health per point that you put into this. So and the sort of middle of the road level, max level skill will give you look at the 2 cards and gain 1 health. So basically we've got a little bit more health gain in the wizard tree. We've got to jump over to Adam because he was just doing a little dance over there.
Oh man, so I'm a wizard pilot like all the way, and that's what I've been really pushing into. It's only been this last week where I'm like, you know what, I just don't want to grind the mid gold tiers right now because of the challenges I'm having in the matchups, and adding that life to the middle the middle ability is going to be huge because that's all the wizard needs, just a tiny bit more of game extension to really get that engine running. And I'm curious, I was actually just rebuilding another character this week to go into Serene Channel just to figure it out. This additional health is going to be really fun, man. I'm thrilled. This is great.
Nice. All right, and let's see here, and then Wizard's Robes magic armor is an insanely cool item. Oh, let me jump in so we can see me. All right, don't let me touch the computer.
It's not as easy as it looks, is it?
So the Wizard's Robes has been getting most of the love in the armor's choice for the Wizards. The Wizard's Robe has the ability to basically stash a card and save it for later, which is insanely fun. You can, especially with cards that have cool ally abilities, such as um, uh, buying cards direct to your hand, gaining bunches of health, all of those sorts of things. So the Wizard's Robes have been seeing a lot of action. Spellcaster's Gloves, not much. One of the big complaints about the Spellcaster's Gloves was they shut off too early. It's so easy to get knocked below 25 when you're playing the Wizard. So you have to get multiple actions out. Okay, great. I got my deck to the point where it's getting multiple actions, and oh, my gloves are shut off. And so basically people were having a hard time with that. We made 2 tweaks to the Spellcaster's Gloves. One is reducing that health requirement all the way down to 10, so the gloves will stay active longer. And 2, you can gain, when you activate the gloves, you can either get 2 combat or 3 health. So we've increased the health gain from 2 to 3. So again, if you want to sort of stay alive as a wizard, we're giving you some more ways to do that. So my goal is to make it so that both choices are interesting, and when you're playing against somebody, you're like, oh, cool, this guy has this item. That's going to cause the game to play in different ways. Adam, thoughts on the gloves?
Yeah, no, this just like the cleric, this opens up a whole nother route or another way in which to to play the wizard. So its toughest matchup was always against the fighter, but I can see now with the game extension, the more focus on life gain or potentials for life gain that's in wizard and in cleric are going to really force fighters to play the row a bit more, and we'll come up with some real interesting matchups. I'm very excited about these changes. I think this gets us, I don't know, 95% of the way there. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah, and of course we'll have to see with the play, and again, nothing replaces play testing. So like we can, I'm pretty good at the math and theory behind tweaks, but basically you never know for sure until it's in there in the meta and people are playing with it, and people who specialize in the decks. Like we don't want a scenario where fighters can't win. We don't want a scenario where fighters always win. We want interesting games. And yeah, we totally fine if a fighter can push someone off the table before they get going in some games. But you don't want that to be happening every single time. So basically, and in a perfect world, you're a fighter, you're playing against a wizard, and you're like, let me click on their deck. Let me see what they got. Let me check out their skills and their abilities, what treasures they have. Okay, this guy works like this. I'm going to go with this type of strategy, against them. So, so that's the sort of the long-term goal. I don't know if there are anything in the comments that.
No, I was just saying hello to Lollies. Looks like we had Alex and a whole bunch of people pop over.
Oh, nice.
Board Game Yogi.
Awesome.
Twitch.
All right, so let's see. What else did I want to cover on today? So here we're just okay. So on the fighter, the sweeping. So basically, straight damage has been sort of the way to go with the fighter. And the sweeping blow side of the tree was not getting a lot of attention. So wanted to make this more powerful and also interesting. So basically, with sweeping blow, we've added expend all opposing champions to this. So if you expend someone's champion, it doesn't go away; it's still in play. But it's champions prepare at the end of your turn. So basically, you do your stuff with your champion, activate it, it expends. The end of your turn, it prepares, ready to use the next turn. A prepared guard protects you and your other champions, and prepared champions can activate and use their abilities. So if you expend a champion, which is something fighters are good at, some of their skill routes allow you to expend champions. If you expend champion, they won't be able to use its activated ability in the next turn, and guards don't defend them, which can be a big deal. So sweeping blow, this does 8 damage divided as you want among opposing champions and draws you a card. So that was sort of has that card draw and the ability to clear out champions. So that was what it did before. Now it does that same thing, but it also expends champions. So if they have just a huge wall of champions, you can just shut them down and get past, and maybe you can kill them off. You can turn off guards. This also allows you to selectively use that 8 damage however you want, because guards are not going to defend against this, because all guards will be shut down. So if with your 8 combat you want to take out the non-guard champions, you'll be free to do that with this version of Sweeping Blow. And the Whirling Blow, the max version on this tree, we have that expend in there. We've also increased the damage from 12 to 15. So really lets you chop down a whole bunch of champions. Frequently this will just kill all of them, but if they have more champions than 15 damage can handle, you can expend out their team with this, and use your 15 damage to kill selected ones, and then you can, if you choose, you could take your regular damage straight to the player. And of course, it has that card draw in there. So trying to make the whirling side a little more interesting. And then the middle of the road Mighty Blow, we have basically buffed in both ways. So it's now, instead of giving 5 combat, it gives 6. And instead of dealing 6 damage to a champion, it deals 8 damage to target champion. Now 6 kills most champions, so that is a minor buff. But sometimes when you're playing against a cleric or on the biggest champion, 6 doesn't quite do it. And of course, this side draws a card. So basically, we're trying to make it so that different play styles are supported, and don't just have to go with, I'll take the 12 damage route because that's the only thing that's viable. Here we're trying to give the fighter more tools to use that are a little varied in what they do.
Yeah, I mean, looking at these changes on the fighter, right, as they are like playing the row a bit more, what they're going to do is kind of make the game go a bit longer and allow these champion walls to pull up. So we don't see a lot going on the whirling side, at least at the higher levels. But seeing as the cleric now has the ability to continually buff a champion by 1 becomes really attractive. There's a whole lot of counterplay that's going on here, and frankly, I can't see right through it, but I like what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, well, not seeing through it is good. That's that's sort of the goal. I don't think I remember to put slides up for it, but we also have a minor tweak to the thief's skill tree. So basically, the thief has 2 directions where they can go with the skill. One where they get gold back on a future turn. The other where they gain more health. The gain more health side has, much like the wizard, each of those has been increased by 1. So that can get pretty spicy. I believe that gives a plus discard and +7 health on the max side for that. So again, we're trying to make different paths more viable, and by making health gain paths more viable, the sort of top level meta of super aggro fighters, we're trying to divide that up a little bit. Okay, if you're a super aggro fighter and you're playing against a thief who can gain 7 every skill expend, that's rough. So basically, and obviously not unbeatable. It just means you're not just going to push them off the table. You're going to have to pay attention to the row and make some purchases, etc. So that's
fun.
So those are the big changes. So Ranger got no changes in this balance update. Obviously, that might change in the future, but I was pretty happy with the variety of play choices and such with the Rangers.
Joel said he can offer to.
Oh yeah, Joel, that's great. If you can show the tweaks in the Discord channel. That's cool. It just health, as I said, it's just the health gain tweak, but yeah.
If anyone is not in our Discord server, it's wisewizardgames.com/Discord. There's a permanent invite there. You can click there to jump in, and we have here digital channels. And
the Discord channel is basically the place to go to communicate with us about the app. You can obviously make comments in the Kickstarter and stuff, but once a Kickstarter is finished and we've delivered the content for it, we don't go in all the time and check the comments on it. We'll post updates. Hey, we got a new set or what, for the or whatnot. But basically, if you want to sort of talk to us about what's going on in Hero Realms, our Discord channel is the way to go. And Joel's on there all the time and can and give answers and feedback. So yeah, Adam, that's what we're doing. What do you think?
I love it. I love it. Yeah, what we're seeing just since the latest patch was that the Ranger is actually making it into the platinum levels now because of some of the corrections on how the upgrades were working. So
yes,
I think there's more to be seen there. And then the Thief gaining a bit more life is actually going to make a big difference, especially when you go running, say, like a Shadow Mask and a Blackjack at the same time. The combinations of being able to keep that up is pretty big, because I was just considering rebuilding a Thief to go that middle route, because I was like, yeah, the life gain being 5 and get the gold back, I was like, maybe that's where I want to go. So you've definitely created 2 solid play styles there, and I'm excited about that. But
will the coming changes mean more rerolls? I'll have to check with the digital team to see if it's required. I think the answer is yes, and this is one of the painful things in the beta. So basically, in the full release, this is not going to happen. Like, basically, your character, we're not going to be like constantly having you re-roll your character as you make tweaks. But in the beta, we're changing some fundamental things. So, for example, on the last update we just did, we did a major change where we're like, you cannot buy a second skill. We were having some issues with the multiple activations of Pickpocket and Shoulder Bash, etc., sort of creating some unfun scenarios, and also reducing people's interaction with the market. And so we've capped it at 1 skill, but you can get 2 abilities. So that obviously forced us to have everybody reroll their characters, because some people already had 2 skills. So so basically, we're going to be making changes which do require rebuilds in the beta. That's just part of the joy of a beta. You're helping us make the game better. That'll mean that occasionally some stuff really fundamentally changes. I think the answer is that probably will be a character reroll, but I'll check. Frankly, people might want a character reroll with the with the tweaks to the skill trees to try out the new stuff. But yeah, that's what we're doing. And I'm super excited to see how that goes. As Adam, as you pointed out, the Ranger had a bunch of their stuff misimplemented for a while. So we're just starting to get data on how the Ranger really performs, because having the explosive arrow function as explosive arrow is supposed to, etc. That allows us to sort of see, okay, how are these guys doing? My suspicion is that the Ranger is going to be fairly high on the power curve, and need a little. It's possible they may need a nerf. I don't think they're going to be in the buff range, but we'll see. As I said, nothing replaces thousands and thousands of games being played to tell you how your balance is.
Do you want to talk about the double experience?
Oh yeah, so
we didn't have a slide on that. So much.
So if you played Hero Realms Digital for a while and you haven't been in recently, we have done some things with the leveling. So we wanted to see. Honestly, we wanted to get more data on higher level characters. So we've increased the speed at which you level in general, and in addition to that, we've added double experience weekends for, I believe it's for live games on the weekends. So basically, chances to level up even faster. So if you want to try new character builds, build new characters, and bring them up through the ranks, or you have a character you've been working on and you're sort of stuck in the mid-range levels and you want to sort of see what the higher levels are like, now's a great time to play, because we've accelerated the leveling a bit.
So you did what we said we were going to do. We've gone over. We haven't even been able to chat with Adam much yet. I think there was a question in. So if people have questions, you can ask them in the chat.
Especially if you have questions for Adam.
Especially if you have questions for Adam. I know there was one earlier on from Ori, and I know there was a few questions about other products, so we'll answer those at the end as well. Ori would love to hear a little bit about your spiritual background. Yes, we also notice the spirituality of your podcast. You do some excellent meditational exercises on the podcast, which Ori really appreciates. Reminds him to take a break sometimes. Yes, we should all breathe more. So Adam, would you like to talk to that?
Yeah, sure. I've taken in the podcast two of my like really big passions in life. One is, personal and spiritual growth, and the other is the Realms games, right? So I've always been a huge fan of, Star Realms, played that really competitively, and then now finding my way into Hero Realms because there's an app. And when I saw that there wasn't a podcast out there, I was like, well, I'm going to create something, because what Mega Holland, the Star Realms podcast, gave me was this central point to really, learn and connect with community, and that wasn't there for Hero Realms. So as I started creating the podcast, I thought, well, hey, like, I want to do something more than just share, my love of the game, just be my love of being alive, of being here. So I have a host of, my own practices. Grew up in, what I'd call a religious family, but never really took to that. Studied a lot of Buddhism in high school, and then just kind of generically was reading a bunch of different personal growth texts or whatever. And it's really been since I learned my wife was pregnant with my daughter, who's now 4, that I was like, oh man, like, I want to put my life together a little bit more. And I just kind of went on this tear of doing a lot of reading with like a lot of different authors. And so in my own day-to-day practice, I set intentions when I wake up. I set intentions when I go to sleep. I set intentions when, I'm about to eat or drink. Like, throughout the day, I'm kind of always reminding myself to kind of stop and, be like, yeah, like, here I am. Like, I am here, and not get lost in the race of the mind.
It's easy to do. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say I have any particular, I'm not a religious person, but I'm very much involved in, articulating at the highest way that I can. And I brought that to the podcast because it's what I do. So I'm sharing it all,
and speaking of the podcast, like so Realms Rising and Megahan, these are not like Wise Wizard Games podcasts. These are like fan generated content. And we love that our fan community is so engaged, etc. And if other people want to put out content too, that's great. The more the merrier in the content front. And we love to just sort of throw some support in the way of any eyeballs we can throw your way. We love to do it, because it's great how engaged the community is, and how how much we have some really great players. Like, people are really nice community, very helpful to each other. It's certainly not all about winning amongst the Realms community. There's just a lot of support for each other, learning how to play better as a group. It's super cool.
Yeah, the people who play this game really are what keep me coming back again and again, because it's just such amazing and intelligent people that you get to play with. And what's been awesome about the Realms Rising project is I just decided, hey, I'll start a podcast. Like, I don't even know if anyone's going to listen to it, but I'm going to make it. And we've slowly built a community around it. Now we've had like so many people contributing things. I had a bunch of help creating a website. That's the realmsrising.com website.
Yeah,
you guys lent a bunch of your art out to us. I really appreciate that, because man, the community, like, this is not just me. I just happen to be the silly looking face in front of it all. There's a whole bunch of people writing strategy articles. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I've been impressed with all the people coming and being like, can we use art to create this awesome content that they want to create for your blog? So it is awesome. And yeah, we are always happy to give permission to use our piece of art for content. So if anyone's out there wondering if they can, use our art for that kind of thing, just send us an email, and we can help you with that. So do you have any favorite books? You mentioned you've read a lot of books. Dr. Bingo here is recommending 24/7 Zen. I am also a huge I love these kind of personal growth books and practices. I roped Rob into doing some yoga.
That is
2
harder than
nights
it
ago.
looks.
I'm still like, oh. Yeah, it is. Yoga is harder than it looks. That's why they call it practice. You have to practice every day, and you're never going to be that good at it. But yeah, do you have any favorites for spiritual books?
So I wouldn't necessarily call it spiritual, but there's a book by Paul Chek called Eat, Move, and Be Healthy. And it's basically a guideline on how to just overall improve your physical health that involves like a whole bunch of just self-assessment and then some actual like practices like baked into it. So everything from basic exercises to basic breathing practices to just how to select food when you're out and about. And that's a great foundational book, to get into. And then, I mean, I'll take you all the way to like, cosmic weirdness type book, but that's kind of a more private conversation. Might blow some brains if I say too many titles.
Yeah. We have a suggestion here. The Epic app could also use a boost. So if anyone's interested in doing content on Epic, let me know. We'd love to help.
And one of the great things about the Epic app is you get everything free. So basically every card in the game, you can play constructed, draft. The only thing you pay for in Epic is cosmetics and tournaments. So basically you want to play casual, you want to do drafts, you want to build constructed decks, you can build everything without spending a penny. And try out all the different strategies. And we're continuing to, as we mentioned earlier in this, we're continuing to add content to it. So basically that that app has basically as full TCG style play with no chasing rarities and no money sink. You can just gives you. You just get the pure play. So if you haven't played it, check it out. It's if you're into that style of game, it is awesome.
We had a question about whether the changes will be coming to digital. I know you answered this question, but if you can. Balancing changes.
So basically, balance changes will eventually make it into physical. It'll be first we'll put them in digital, then we'll kick the tires on them a ton. And if they're stable over a significant period of time, because maybe we made this change to the wizard and it's too strong and we nerf it down, and so there's gonna be some back and forth, I'm sure, on these. But once they're stable, we'll create an errata page which will have all the changes listed on them. And if you're playing in a tournament, we will use the errata versions. And then when we do reprints, we will reprint with the new text. I'm not sure if we're going to do it or not, but we had a great suggestion from one of the viewers of making a pack with just the changed cards in it, an update pack or something, which is something we can look at potentially making. So yes, change in digital will migrate into physical, but there will be lag in it because we'll want to make sure that the changes are stable. Also, we may occasionally change things in ways in digital which cannot be duplicated in physical. It's okay if these games end up diverging a little bit because some of the cool mechanics we can do in digital can't do in physical, or some of the things we can do in physical which are a pain in digital, or vice versa. So generally we're going to try and have them married up so that they will not, basically any change in digital will apply to physical, but occasionally we might have something that takes advantage of something in the digital space that can't be done in physical.
I would love for you to mention a few of the guests that you've had on to your podcast and a couple of the topics you've had in the blogs. And also, if anyone that's listening or later watching the replay is interested in being a guest on your podcast or writing content for your blog, how would they go about doing that?
Yeah, great. Thanks for asking. Realms Rising as a podcast has 15 episodes out and a season 1 special. So I capped season 1 at 15 episodes, and we're going to be starting season 2 up in early January. So I'm going to do probably another 15, maybe longer. We'll see. I'm going to do a different release cycle there. And so the aim of the podcast is just to talk strategy and, talk with high level players about their either favorite heroes or favorite cards or whatever, just to generate some dialogue and discussion, just say some wild things and get people talking, right? I've had a number of people on who are legends or even double legends. So there's Dave Birdlaw Logvin was my first guest that was on the show. I have talked to Dusto, so it's Dusto55 on Twitch, who is a Star Realms legend. Had him on. Silent Al, so Alex Sarkeesian, came on, did an episode with me about the fighter, and then literally the next week went and won the Hero Realms Legends with the fighter. So that was awesome.
Nice.
Talking with Tim with Agent C13. I'm all over the place with my guests. There's so many more. I mean, we put together so much content. And then we have a host of people that are writing. We have S Freak, who has been writing some wonderful articles about leveling and the different classes. So just centralizing the information there. So instead of trying to, what was this tree, or what decision I make, laying it all out there and having that accessible, and also doing some reviews of the different factions and how they level up in terms of some base statistics. Some wonderful writing there. And we just had Pema Lingpa, so that's Matthew Rooks, release a wizard overview guide, which is going to have to change now to see the balance changes that are coming out. So for anyone who's interested in maybe being a guest, like if you are a legend, I definitely want to talk to you. So reach out to me, and we can do that on Discord. I have a Realms Rising Discord set up. It's like 100+ members. People are all pretty highly active, chatting about the game and chatting about the podcast and whatever else is going on. So if you are interested in being a guest or in writing content, I'll review, anything that's sent to me, and that it's Discord is the place to reach me. So what's also exciting is we're going to start a fan run tournament on the Realm Rising Discord.
Oh, nice.
And
Those are awesome.
we're starting it out as part of Tavern Brawls, which is going to be teams of 5 getting together and doing some weekly brawls. And eventually that's going to grow into the winners of those brawls over the first season will then get to form a guild and recruit 5 teams of 5 people having these all-out guild wars. So 25v25 fights. So we're going to prove the model at the Tavern Brawl level and make any adjustments there. But eventually we really want to grow this thing. And the craziest piece is that S Freak, who's such a talented writer, is going to be writing a weekly kind of like war report on each of them, creating some in-game tournament lore for us. We're really taking it to the next level.
Nice.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully we've given you lots of content to talk about on the blog in the future with all these balance changes.
Oh God!
And we have we have so many cool plans for the app in the future, and so much content to come. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that's printed in physical, which isn't in the app yet. Those will be coming. We've got a higher level caps that will be implementing, giving people bigger hill to climb, and of course, working on the balance along the way. And we've got all this great new content we've got in the physical Kickstarter we're going to be doing next year for the Hero Realms Dungeon set, including 6 new characters, and of course that'll be fun to get into digital, and stuff from the previous things like the Ancestry Pack. It's going to shake things in the digital realm up quite a bit when those get in. So really excited to see how it goes as we continue to add this all this cool content.
Can't wait.
Oh, we got a question. How do you get in on this Tavern Brawl?
So we haven't formally announced it. Everyone's kind of getting a teaser here, but we're gonna put out the announcement in the call, and that's gonna be on the Realms Rising Discord is where we're gonna centralize it, and we'll probably use an external app like Challenge or something like that in order to record all the matchups and everything like that. So yeah, everyone is welcome. Come and hang out and
Now are these 5-player teams, 1 per class?
Yes, and so this is the interesting piece is that we're going to have to force.
Okay, we need a cleric for our team. Nice.
So we have to force meta decisions on. All right, someone elects like, all right, I'm going to say my fighter is going to go first, and say, well, if you're fighter, then I'll go cleric. But then they elect who goes next, so they'll say, I'll do my thief. So, well, if you're going to do your thief, we'll have ours. So we're going to have having the leader of each team have to make some, meta-based decisions on who they're gonna put, or knowing their own party and the specific build that they went with, which the other people may not know, right? So now you might even have people creating off-meta characters in order to, have that little that hit or the advantage.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's going to get weird.
Yeah, I like it.
So, here's the website. So yes, people want to know where to reach you. So Adam, if there's any, can you add comments right now from your view on the live?
I don't think that I can.
Okay, so if there's any other place, well, you can post after the stream.
Pretty sure
But I
that
think
we got the Discord in there. And
I would
the
say
Realms
join the
Rising, so.
Discord if you want additional links, because the Discord was here. That's where you're going to be able to talk to people that are following the podcast and participating in this. But we also posted it here in the comments. Saf, if you can repost this, so it posts on all the channels, therealmsrising.com. That's the website for the blog post, and it looks amazing. The website's really pretty too.
The community's unbelievable. There's such talented people who are helping out. It's awesome.
Yeah, so great work, everyone. It looks awesome. So we're really excited about that. So I think we're over.
We're good.
So thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for being our guest, Adam. And we will have additional guests in the future. So if anyone's interested in being a guest here on the live stream, they can send me a message. And yeah, we will see you next week. Oh, have a great Thanksgiving, everyone that celebrates Thanksgiving. We have a lot of food preparation and eating to do this week. And I hope everyone enjoys the vacation at the short break in the United States. Bye.
Bye, everybody.